Welcome to This Explainer. Okay, so Spain has actually done it. They are the new World Cup champions. Now, if you watch them lift that trophy, you absolutely saw history being made. But today, rather than just looking at the final scores, we're going to do something a little different. We are unpacking the exact mechanics behind their magic.
I want you to really think about this for a second. Did Spain win this World Cup simply because they had the absolute best individual players on the pitch? Or was this championship born out of sheer, unadulterated systems engineering? It's a totally fascinating question, right? And it kind of changes entirely how we view the beautiful game.
Section 1. Powering up the machine.
Section 2. The team's power source.
Okay, let's dive right into this. We're going to look at a champion football team through a completely different lens today. Not just as a collection of athletes, but literally through the blueprint of a highly efficient electrical circuit. Now, as literally any engineer will tell you, every single machine on the planet starts with a power source. In football, we usually call this team chemistry, but think of it as literal electrical energy. It's that invisible spark that forces a team to move together, think together, and ultimately win together. Spain basically entered every single match wired into one unified circuit. That was their primary power source.
Section 3. Lamine Yamal, the CPU.
So every modern machine needs a central processing unit to actually function, right? Well, for Spain, this tournament proved without a doubt that Lamine Yamal is the microprocessor running the whole show. Now, a CPU doesn't necessarily score every point itself. Instead, its job is to process massive amounts of information, make rapid-fire decisions, and then send those instructions across the system way faster than anyone else can. Just like a computer, Yamal is out there managing the entire rhythm and flow of the Spanish system.
First up, he reads the defenders. In absolute fractions of a second, this human CPU is scanning the opponent's defensive line. Just think back to that gripping semifinal against France. He's analyzing their positioning, their momentum, their weaknesses, all in the blink of an eye.
Immediately after that, he's calculating the physical gaps on the pitch. He finds the space. He is quite literally processing geometrical angles and distances faster than the opposition can even react to it, identifying exactly where the energy needs to flow next. And finally, he executes the instruction. He creates those golden opportunities and keeps the attack running incredibly smoothly. Honestly, if you were to somehow remove Yamal from the equation, the Spanish computer would just freeze. It would lose its rhythm entirely. He's absolutely the processor, making the rest of the hardware function.
Section 4. Building the circuit components.
Now, let's move to how this all builds, because in engineering, one single component never wins a championship on its own. You absolutely need the rest of the circuit to carry the load. Just look at this blueprint. When danger appears, defenders act as your circuit breakers, immediately stopping faults before they can cause catastrophic damage to the system. Then you've got your midfielders, like Rodri, acting as the copper wires. They conduct and transfer energy straight from defense to attack with basically zero loss in power. And your goalkeeper, Unai Simon, acts as your UPS, your uninterruptible power supply. When everything else fails, the keeper keeps the power alive with these incredible saves. Up front, the forwards are your electric motors, taking all that team energy and converting it into mechanical output, which in football means goals. And orchestrating this whole shebang from the sidelines is the coach, acting as the PLC controller, programming every single movement of this incredibly complex system.
Section 5. Peak system efficiency. So having the right parts is one thing, but running them as a synchronized unit, that requires peak system efficiency. The crucial point here is that in electrical engineering, the absolute best machines on the market aren't necessarily the ones with the biggest, loudest motors. No, they're the ones with the highest efficiency. And efficiency simply means producing the greatest possible output with the absolute least amount of wasted energy.
And Spain applied this strict engineering principle directly to their gameplay. Literally every single pass had a specific purpose, which allowed them to maintain those dominant possession metrics all throughout the tournament. Every single movement off the ball supported a teammate, creating this highly coordinated surge of energy. By perfectly managing their electrical flow and maintaining that incredible passing accuracy, there was almost zero wasted energy on the pitch for Spain.
And this brilliantly illustrates a stark contrast between two very different philosophies. On one hand, you can have a team of individual superstars, all trying to be their own power source. Or, on the other hand, you can have a perfectly designed system where every single part knows its exact role. Spain proved that elite football is, quite literally, exactly like elite electrical engineering.
You see, championships are almost never won by one superstar working in total isolation. they're won by perfect synchronization. When every single component, from the circuit breaker defenders to the copper wire midfielders driven by the CPU and perfectly programmed by the PLC controller, when all of that works together, the game is transformed into a literal masterpiece of systems engineering. And as Spain just showed us, that is exactly when the impossible truly becomes possible.
Which leaves us with a totally fascinating question to end on. We've just mapped a World Cup victory perfectly onto an electrical circuit. So if football is an electrical system, what other sports are really just engineering mechanics hiding in plain sight, just waiting to be solved? Think about that the next time you turn on a game. Thanks so much for joining me for this explainer.